Hey y'all, it's Isra Battle, and today I will be talking about my college experience. In this video, we're going to be talking about a few things: my personal life, my academic life. I'm going to also be giving some tips at the end, so make sure you stay tuned for the whole video. So, if you didn't know, I went to Old Dominion University for a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology. I recently graduated with it in May 2023. I received a 3.3 GPA at the end of my term, or my cumulative GPA at the end of my run at ODU. I think overall, even though this was a challenge, I think that it was very rewarding. I got to make new connections, I got to meet new people, I got to really understand what I really want to do, and at the end of it, I was able to gain the confidence that this really is what I want to do. So I want to break it down by semester what I did. I'm also going to be talking about some other aspects of my experience as well. So, my first semester was in fall 2019. I had just graduated that almost summer because high school didn't end until June, so that was a lot. That was a lot. It was very much a huge culture shock because of the structure difference between high school and college is so different. I was used to having friends everywhere, and then when I got to college, I had to actually work to keep friendships, and it was a lot. It was a lot. I also did realize that I was more closely linked to being an introvert than an extrovert. To be honest, I thought that the first semester was going to be easy, and I was immediately proven wrong. Besides the culture shock, the cost of everything was kind of shocking. Trying to readjust my schedule was kind of a lot as well. Simply because since we were freshmen, right, we did not have the first dibs to the classes, so we were signing up in August to take classes that were going to be later in August. Or I'm sorry, July that were going to be in later August. So, a lot of times you kind of do all the registration, like way back beforehand. But since we were new and since we were just getting into the system, we had to wait. So on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday, I was going to class at 8 o'clock in the morning. Then on Tuesdays, I was going to class at, I believe, it was from about 3 or 4 o'clock to about 7 o'clock. Oh, I forgot to mention, this was also my first year driving by myself. So I was panicking the first few months. It was actually funny, actually. The amount of times I was on the road and at certain intersections, certain changes in the road, I was so confused. I was like, ah! I'm like on the phone, Mom, come like, get ah! Me. I'm like, but no, I ended up turning out okay. I actually did really good, actually. But anyways, so the first semester was hard but easy. I definitely think because of me having, trying to get used to the scheduling, trying to get used to driving back and forth, that is what made it very difficult. And because I was driving back and forth, it was taking away from me doing the actual assignments. Thankfully, my teachers were very flexible, and I was also working as well, so that was kind of hard to navigate at that time. Okay, second semester, fall 2020. Spring 2020. So, if you don't remember, this was the year that COVID struck. Not gonna lie, but this semester kind of saved me a little bit. It really helped me out. I feel like I was able to take a break from work because work closed down. Going out to school closed down, so that took away the time of me driving back and forth. But it was also negative. There was a big culture shock. Everything went online, and not only me, but a few other students started complaining about the learning orientation and the way that school was being conducted online. There was definitely a huge learning curve, and a good amount of people ended up dropping out. Because of the shutdown, I was very much isolated, very much feeling lonely, ended up starting to feel more and more depressed. Then a little bit later, I went back to work and started noticing some things about the different people and the culture shock that happened to a lot of people in response to the way that consumers were behaving at that time. All these changes made work life difficult, which for me made school assignments and getting stuff done for school even harder. Then eventually the store that I worked at closed down. And this leads me into fall 2020, which is the time that the store closed down that I was working at, but also um, it was the second year. I think my schoolwork started to pick up a lot more. But to be honest, God set me up with the whole work situation because them closing down let me be able to experience the unemployment benefits and that extra $600. I will say I also noticed a lot of other stuff as far as school started working out. Um, there was just a lot of stuff going on at that time. I know there was like a hurricane in Texas, which ironically affected a lot of people's textbooks getting into our area. I think it's because a lot of the textbook companies are based in Texas, and that's exactly where the hurricane happened. So I remember one time the teacher had got mad at the whole class, and she was like, Why did no one read the assignment? Why did no one?" And we explained to her that um, she had to wait for us to get our textbooks because they weren't in, so we couldn't. How would we read it if we don't have the textbooks? I know I said I was going to go semester by semester, but 2021 and 2022 for me, because of the string of events, kind of meshed together. And the reason why is because in fall 2020, a lot of negative things happened in my life. My grandmother passed away. I caught COVID. Well, I caught COVID, and then my grandmother passed away. This definitely impacted my mental health, and it also impacted me getting my work done. It was so bad that my teachers had to let me extend my work because I literally it was like after COVID I could not concentrate. I couldn't think straight. I couldn't it really caused me to regress in a lot of ways. Also, during 2021, I started to feel a lot of, I guess you could say, the quarter life crisis, but especially about college because I felt like, okay, I graduate in like less than 2 years. I need to do some stuff. I need to do some stuff. Now, during this time, I still wasn't able to do a lot of stuff because I was unfortunately afflicted by a lot of things, a lot of situations. I couldn't really get out and go back and forth, and I didn't need to because for a good amount of time, I was in online classes. Going back into about fall 21, spring 2022, I kind of realized that they kind of were like phasing back into making us go back to school. I believe closer to spring 2022. But the issue was that my program, a lot of the professors in my program did not want to teach in school classes. A lot of them wanted to stay online. However, you still have to pay a fee when you pay for online classes. So this is when my financial like hardship started to come in. You still have to pay a fee also when you pay for online classes. Like I'm not even gonna lie, it was very difficult. The class, it was just the class, this one particular class that I had. I it was a struggle. It was a struggle. The professor was kind of hard. The work itself was also hard. Um, and then still kind of suffering from the effects of the pandemic because some of that stuff still lingered on and on. Yes, those times were very tough. I remember 2022 for both semesters, spring and fall. I had to pray my way through those classes. I really did. I could no longer use my intellect. I had to pray because it was just too hard and it was too much. Now, before I end off this segment of today's video, I want to talk about what God did for me for this specific internship. So, in about, I believe it was fall, it was, okay, yeah, it was fall 2022. And so I had, during the summer of 2022, I basically signed up to be in this class that was like a clinical internship. It was you get hands-on, clinical psych type experience with clients, and you get a type of experience. It's hands-on. You do a little bit of learning. There's no test. It's like strictly based off of what you've learned. You log it every week, and it was so easy, and it would be such a rewarding experience. I signed up for that, and I wanted to do this internship with this specific company. And so this specific company, I reached out to them, they reached out back to me. I thought everything was cool. They end up leaving me, I guess you could say, out on the street. And I wanted to work with this company because I've had experience with this company before, so I kind of knew a little bit about what they did. So I ended up, it was about a few weeks before the deadline, and I'm thinking, I don't know what's going on. I'm calling up there, I'm calling the different offices, the different departments. No one's returning my calls, no one's anything. I haven't heard anything. It got so bad that I said, you know what, I'm going up there. I went up to the building. I went up to one of the buildings. They told me to go to another building. I went to the other building. The person that I was supposed to work with, they did not find. Their office was empty, and they basically they weren't there. They weren't there. So even after all of that, they never got back in touch with me. I tried to go with this other company. They are like, okay, yeah, we'll do this. I'm not gonna lie, my spirit wasn't really feeling that place. My spirit was not feeling that place. I was just doing it out of desperation, and unfortunately, by the time they, my stomach keeps growling. Anyways, it got so bad that I tried to work with this other company. That went out the window because their application process would have been too long before the deadline. So I just ended up not taking this class, but I specifically replaced this class with a substance use disorder class. I want y'all to please listen. I'm going to try to be as fast as possible. I take the substance use class. Then, when it comes time for registration again, I apply for this internship class again. So, when I applied for the internship class, I tried with the same. I don't know why I did this. I don't know why I did this to myself. But they didn't respond again. They didn't respond again. So, that same company out the window, then I go with this other company. Now, I'm not going to lie, I was very fearful. But it got up to the last minute, and basically I went to work with this company, and when I tell you, they immediately did the paperwork. Just sign this, do this. Okay, you can start on Tuesday. Like, it was that quick. And y'all, guess what type of place it was? It was a substance use disorder facility. Specifically opioids, but it was a substance use treatment facility. Now, remember how I told you that semester before I took a substance use class? Y'all, God lined me up. God lined me up really good. So, when I tell y'all, I was so grateful. I was so grateful. And so there was two sections of this class. One section was the classroom portion, which we meet every Tuesday. It was 3 hours. How come in the classroom portion, I ran into someone, or I had someone in that class that I already knew. I said, "This is God. This is God." I already knew this person for a little while, or knew of this person for a little while, and I ended up in the same class or the same, block and stuff with them. Even though we didn't connect with each other that much, it was like we were there, we would talk about stuff, and it was just this group of individuals in this specific class I related to so much. And I say all that to say this: God, He may not. I don't want to sound cliche. I don't want to sound cliche. But God, every time you pray something or you want something, He will give you the desires of your heart, but it might not be in the time frame that you want it. Sometimes God knows what's best, and so if you ask for something and it's not happening yet, don't think that it's not going to happen at all, because it might. Sometimes God has to shift some things and line some things up, and then you will soar. You will soar in the conditions that God will place you in. He will make you ready, and you don't even have to think about it. He does it for you. Think of, like, y'all. So I just want to give some upcoming, college students and some, people who are already in college some advice that I learned and that I wish I knew before going to college. You're gonna have to work to make friends. You're gonna have to work to make friends. Yep. You're also gonna have to work to keep friends. Another thing too, and I know not everyone is religious or spiritual, but let me just say it really helps to have the Holy Ghost so that you can have discernment. Because some of these people will use you. They will use you. They do not care. They will use you and drop you by next semester. Mind you, that they make it seem like that we're gonna be friends. We have the same interests, all this other stuff. They will drop you like a potato, and they don't care. So get discernment and get the right people around you. This leads me to my next thing. Don't just hang out with people because they're fun. Hang out with people that have the same interests as you, that will, help propel you to the next level, that can give you advice, and vice versa. Like, hang out with people that you feel like you can relate to them and give them advice as well. Don't just go to college to party. I'm telling you now, you will fail yourself. You will waste your time and everyone else's time. Before I go further, I will say this is a little bit biased because I only went to one college and I don't know the experience of every college, but I will say that definitely don't go to college just to party. Like, this is an education. This costs money every semester. Yeah. With every choice about college, there's going to be a takeaway and there's going to be a reward somewhere. For instance, I chose not to stay on campus because I'm a local person. So that saved me a lot, as far as room and board and not having to pay that part of the tuition. However, you give the part up that, you're away from campus. So events and different things that you want to go to, you can't just pop up. It's like a whole thing. You have to get yourself ready, get yourself out of the house, have everything ready and set so that you can stay there almost the whole day. Sometimes it's a lot. And so I had to give up like a lot of stuff because if I had tried to come out to Norfolk, that part of Norfolk, for every event, everything that went on, I probably would have no gas in the car. I would have no money. Yep, no money. I just forgot I don't have my headphones in. When you're walking around campus and you're going to different stuff, have someone with you, especially if it's at night. Have somebody with you because you will not believe the amount of sexual assault and other types of crimes that happens at night, especially if you live around an area that's like in the city part or like the inner city type. Yeah, you need to have friends around you. Or even if, say for instance, you have a class at night and you both have the class at night, try to walk each other to your cars because it's people that are crazy out here.